What's going on, Mass Army? Excited to get into this one with you. We're going to be doing another law enforcement reaction video. I know I'm a little bit late on this one, but this is going to be on the incident with ICE. I know there's been a couple of them, but we're going to go through the video. You're going to get my point of view as a police officer of 5 years. I am henceforth retired, but I do think I have a good perspective on something like this. I consider myself apolitical. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Again, I'm going to do my best to be as objective as possible. We all have our opinions when it comes to the political aspect of things, but I'm going to try to shed some light as far as maybe standard operating procedure might go as a law enforcement officer, amongst other opinions I may have. So without further ado, let's get on into it. And as this warning and disclaimer applies to me, it also applies to everybody. This is a very disturbing video, but those of you that can hang in there, thanks for being here.
On Wednesday, in Minneapolis, a federal agent fatally shot a motorist, 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good.
Okay, they come right out of the gate with it. This
On
is
Wednesday,
crucial here. So what we don't know, at least what I don't know, is why they're trying to detain this individual. I think they were. This was like part of a protest. They were trying to disperse. Shame on me for not knowing a bit more. But right off the bat, one thing you don't ever want to do, and I was trained time and time again not to do, is to reach inside of a vehicle, a moving one. It is a deadly weapon. Okay, we all know where this is headed. It is considered a deadly weapon, and you can't trust who's behind the wheel. So off the bat, I don't know, is she getting detained for murder? Yeah, probably not. So off the bat, these guys are aggressive, and maybe rightfully so, but very aggressive. Typically, as a law enforcement officer, and full disclosure, a patrol officer, what I did for 5 years, is a lot different. I can imagine is a lot different than being an ICE agent. That being said, there's probably a lot of parallels. Officer safety should be one of them, right? So right off the bat, he's endangering himself and the driver and potential bystanders. Obviously we don't know what this individual is going to do behind the wheel, but he's throwing caution to the wind, and here we go. He's got some backup with him. Let's continue.
in Minneapolis, a federal agent.
So door's locked. Shocker, no shocker there. And again, his hands are inside the car. Another red flag. One thing we are trained constantly when it comes to vehicles, traffic stops and whatnot, never, and I mean ever, get in front of a vehicle. This agent has either ignored that training or was never told to do so. You can't acknowledge it's a deadly weapon and then get in front of that and then claim that you're defending yourself. I'm getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but right here off the bat, we see a lot of aggression. Hands in car, hands on, trying to jostle the door open. What are you going to do once the door is open? Well, I think we can all assume he's grabbing the person and ripping them out, right?
Fatally shot a
So, mind you, this officer or agent is walking around doing the whole recording thing, right, with one hand. Now, I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit and let it play through, and then I'll give my thoughts.
fatally shot a motorist, 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good. Trump administration officials said these were, quote, defensive shots, fired because the officer was being run over.
And a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over.
But our analysis of bystander footage, filmed from different angles, appears to show the agent was not in the path of the victim's SUV when he fired 3 shots at
Okay, so here's an individual that, again, I like to toot my horn in regards to how, me not being a part of any political party or narrative. But this is someone that, in my opinion, should not be an agent. He very obviously is going for the kill. He thinks he is got the green light, and just because you have the green light to kill somebody doesn't mean you have to take it. And in this regard, we know he doesn't have to take it. Shooting or not didn't save his life. And before I go on, I hope we can all agree, whether it's this scenario, whether it's Charlie Kirk, that murder, or I'm not going to say murder, but one human being killing another is a travesty. Hard stop. Just, we don't have to go beyond that for a second. One human being killing another is an absolute shame and should never happen. So, with that being said, this officer or agent, in my humble opinion, was quite out of line.
Here's how events...
We'll continue to go through it step by step, but again, I think the biggest thing that I can relay to the general public that might not be privy to this sort of information, we are, as law enforcement officers, trained that vehicles are absolutely deadly and can be used as a deadly weapon. What he did by getting in front of the vehicle is, there's 0% chance that's protocol. There's 0% chance. And I mean zero. They're like, who in their right mind? I just don't see a possibility where a law enforcement officer, a training agency, would train their officers or agents to step in front of a live moving vehicle. That just, so in other words, you can't simulate, like, he put himself in the situation to have to defend his life. That's very key. That's extremely key, because at the end of the day, you can't put yourself in a scenario and then take a life. You know what I mean? Which he very clearly did. So anyways, we'll keep moving forward.
Moments before the shooting, the victims...
Okay, so maybe this, I'm hoping this video sheds some light. I have yet to watch a broken down video like this, but I'm curious to see. This looks right here looks like an unmarked law enforcement officer vehicle, cruiser, if you will, and then this obviously seems to be the subject.
Is stopped in the middle of the street. Multiple unmarked federal vehicles are idling nearby. Secretary Noem alleged the motorist, quote, was blocking the officers in. Bystanders are blowing whistles.
Okay, let's see. Blocking officers in.
Was blocking the officers in.
Let's
Federal
see.
vehicles are SUV is stopped.
Okay, so I really want to do my best to be as neutral as possible, to be as subjective, or I'm sorry. I really want to do my best to be as neutral as possible and as objective as possible. Now, the last thing I want to do is for people to paint me a conservative, liberal, anything. I loathe the whole scene of politics. So it might sound like I'm going a certain way politically, but I can tell you I'm not. And right now, it doesn't look good. Some of my best friends are law enforcement officers. I have nothing but respect for the men and women that continue to do that job. But right now, I am very much not liking what I'm seeing. Blocking what? Because if you have any depth perception whatsoever, you can tell that there is plenty of room to fit an Explorer, or a full-size SUV. Between this Honda, was a Civic, Accord, whatever the fuck this is, and the subject's vehicle, there's enough space.
In the middle of...
So again, they're obviously going to use every explanation or excuse in the book. This to me doesn't fly.
Multiple unmarked federal vehicles are idling.
Look right here. You can see the tire all the way over here. The markings. I mean, this vehicle is very clearly at least a couple vehicle lengths away from the sedan.
Idling nearby. Secretary Noem alleged the motorist, quote, was blocking the officers in. Bystanders are blowing whistles and yelling at federal agents.
Go home to Texas!
Then, federal vehicles start moving toward the maroon SUV, with sirens and lights blaring.
Before I go on, with staying within neutrality and being objective, she's wrong. She is wrong. I mean, there's a way to protest. There's a way to go against what you think is wrong, yada, yada, yada. What she is doing is not right. Okay, so she does deserve, I don't like the word deserve, but she does, for lack of a better word, deserve to be apprehended and questioned and whatever else have you. So I do want to make that clear. Before I go on, what she's doing is wrong, in my opinion, and in the law's opinion.
A federal agent films the scene on his phone.
Okay, so this is an interesting one here. So this is where I differ and where my expertise unfortunately won't be able to help out. I don't know why this agent is recording on his phone. It's not good for officer safety. His primary, or actually no, his offhand. So I think he is, or wait, no, his gun's on his hip right here. His primary hand right now, his gun hand is on his phone. So here's the thing. When it comes to body-worn camera footage, some agencies, like, CIA, FBI, I don't know what their protocols are, but when it comes to law enforcement in a patrol aspect, departments are now mandating. I mean, pretty much every department I can think of, both departments I worked in, you have to have your body cam on and it's got to be running. So that way your hands free. I don't know what the deal is here. I don't know why they're saying, maybe they don't have body worn cameras, but they do want footage. This to me doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. He is sacrificing his own safety. You want to claim that he's Mr. Officer Safety and he's protecting himself and his own life. Why do you have the phone in your right hand, brother? Like, even if that is what you guys deem necessary, it's like, we screwed the pooch. We don't have our body worn cameras, or we got to do this on the fly. Can you record? Whatever. Keep it in your left hand at all times. At all times in your offhand. At all times. What those couple of seconds it takes to switch hands, pull your gun or whatever. No, this will be interesting. I don't remember if it's in his. We'll see. Well, I'm going to shut up. Let's see how this transpires.
Scene on his phone. The driver rolls forward slightly, turning left, then stops and waves for others to go ahead. Two agents exit this silver pickup and walk toward the vehicle.
Okay, and one thing I do want to make somewhat evident or reiterate
Exit this silver pickup
is that
and walk.
I'm going to assume that the SUV hasn't moved far, or if at all. Blocking what? What are they trying to move through there? A caravan of elephants? I mean, even that, I think a caravan of elephants would fit through this roadway, even with this car in the middle of it. So again, blocking in what? I don't know. I digress. We continue.
Moments later, shots are fired.
Okay, so luckily it looks like he had his phone in his left hand, but think about it. What if that happened and his phone was in his right hand and he couldn't get to his gun in time? Do you think he'd die? I don't think him drawing his gun, or if anything, him drawing his gun, focusing on drawing, punching out, and shooting, took more effort and energy that could have been used to dodging the car. But I think even if he didn't move a muscle, I think maybe his foot would have been run over, which is not nothing, but come on.
Let's look at the scene again more closely.
And this officer. What bothers me here is the whole. I mean, he's so. I don't know, like laissez-faire, for a lack of a better word. I mean, he's just walking around.
Is the agent who shoots the driver
haphazardly, just waving it, like, recording, like he just doesn't seem locked in.
He walks around the car filming.
Turns his back completely. Another officer safety red flag. Never turn your back on an op. Someone. It doesn't have to be an op. It could be a random bystander. Don't turn your back to people. This guy is just full of officer safety hazards. And if you put yourself as a police officer in the line of fire, you don't have the authority to take a life. That's been trained. That's not an opinion. That's been trained with through both academies. If you put yourself in a position, like if someone's firing a gun on a shooting range, and you run out there and dive in front of them and end up getting shot, and then you draw back and shoot and kill him. Like what really? Like, that is obviously a very dramatic oversimplification of the whole scenario here. But that's what he's doing by getting in front of the car. What are you thinking? Why? Don't get in front of a moving vehicle. Don't get in front of a vehicle with a driver in it. That's law enforcement 101.
Other agents pull up and order the driver to exit her vehicle.
This is the part where, again, I just do as the officers say. Just do it. If you have a leg to stand on with whatever you're protesting, whatever you're trying to resist, then you will have your day. But your day's not now. Your day's not now. She's okay. You made your point, or like whatever the heck she's trying to accomplish, it's not going to happen, and you are going to be met with force. So this was going to end up with her getting ripped out of a car. Okay? And like I said, if she's staying there, or if she's, recklessly driving, I mean, she might have bought it. You know what I mean? Anywho.
One of them grabs at the door handle and reaches inside. The SUV reverses, then turns right.
The other thing I don't have is, what's our intel? What has this individual accomplished before this? What is their threat to the general public? Is this someone who's just run someone over and could do so again? Then yeah, hands in vehicle, get the door open, get her out. Like, she could run someone over again. Obviously, I haven't heard that, so I don't think that's the case. But again, this other ICE agent seems to, through two different departments, I've been trained to keep hands out of cars, to not rip people out of moving cars. I mean, this is, again, these are procedures that are pretty consistent, but this is a federal agency. I don't know really much of anything about ICE and how they're trained. So everything with a grain of salt,
apparently
of course.
Attempting to leave. At the same time, the agent filming crosses toward the left of the vehicle and grabs his gun. He opens fire on the motorist and continues shooting.
Guys, this vehicle hasn't even begun to move.
The agent fires, he is standing.
Wait, hold on.
Standing here, to the left of the SUV, crosses toward the left of the vehicle.
He's drawing his gun, and the vehicle has it even shifted into drive? And he's right here? Even if he's kissed up onto the hood, even if he's sitting on the hood, he can just take a step to the side. That is a human life. I don't care what she's done. It's not yours to take. This guy, I absolutely loathe the thought of people wearing a gun and badge and thinking about having the opportunity to kill someone and them taking it just for that sake. Sickening.
And grabs his gun.
I mean, this. I'm sorry. It is what it is. This individual did not need to die. I mean, it's a shame that we can't agree on that, but is what
He
it
opens
is.
fire on the motorist and continues shooting as she drives past. The moment the agent fires, he is standing here, to the left of the SUV, and the wheels are pointing to the right, away from the agent. This appears to conflict with allegations that the SUV was ramming or about to ram the officer.
And another great observation. So, first and foremost, you're claiming that she was trying to kill you with her vehicle. Why are you holstering up, brother? Why are you nonchalantly just walking up to a vehicle that you just killed? You saw what you just did. You aimed. You know where you aimed, brother. Why are we haphazardly strolling over there? You should be tactically approaching the vehicle with your gun drawn because someone just tried to take your life. That's what you're saying, right? But like the narrator in the video said, I agree. I mean, the wheels, she obviously just wanted to get out of there at that point. At least that's what I'm seeing. There wasn't this sort of like him jumping out of the way and her like deliberately trying to, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. It is what it is. This is coming from a human being, not a conservative, not a liberal. This is coming from someone that cherishes human life, and I don't like what I see. I just don't.
President Trump and others said the federal agent was hit by the SUV, often pointing to another video filmed from a different angle.
Which this angle.
And it's true that at this moment in this grainy low-resolution footage, it does look like the agent is being struck by the SUV. But when we synchronize it with the first clip, we can see the agent is not being run over. In fact, his feet are positioned away from the SUV.
And again, if we want to go, sheesh. If we want to go from that angle, we certainly can.
What the?
A bike,
But
often pointing to another video filmed from a different angle. We're about to ram the officer.
let's go from this other angle.
President Trump and others said the federal
So he's right down here, and this angle does look worse. I'll definitely say that
agent was
much.
hit by the SUV.
So you can see the vehicle's kind of like pushing him, right? So obviously he was a lot closer than the other angle would suggest.
Often pointing to another video filmed.
But again, I argue, what does pulling your gun out and shooting the driver do for you? Well, like, what does that do for your safety? I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, again, you can say, if you want to go the other route and say, oh, I thought, maybe she was going to be a threat to the public, I guess. But dude, let's cut the crap, guys. Let's cut the crap. This person was not in a life or death situation. All he had to do was take one step out of the way, and he was in that predicament by his own decisions. I can't defend this individual. I can't do it. I back law enforcement. I'm the first to say I support our troops and the people that comprise the thin blue line, but I just simply don't like anything about this.
From a different angle. And it's true that at this moment in this grainy low-resolution footage, it does look like the agent is being struck by the SUV. But when we synchronize it with the first clip, we can see the agent is not being run over. In fact, his feet are positioned away from the SUV.
And this guy is thinking to himself, like, dude, I'm gonna dust this individual. Like, I'm gonna tell you something. That you don't just instinctively take out your gun and shoot someone this way. This individual is thinking to himself, this ICE agent is thinking to himself, if this person steps on the gas, I'm gonna shoot them. That's truly what I believe. Now, that is not objective, and for that I do apologize, but If you take things a step further, these are not dumb individuals. Particularly, this didn't look like a young, agent. This looked like someone who's had his experience. So this is, I'm not going to say premeditated, but again, just more signs pointing to me not likey.
The SUV crashes into a white car parked down the road. A bystander runs toward the collision.
A bystander has more pep in their step. And that's another thing we are constantly trained on as law enforcement officers. If there is someone in need of medical assistance, it doesn't matter. Even if they killed, even if it's a school shooter, we are supposed to uphold human life and well-being and what you guys get the picture. So when he shoots her and just again nonchalantly starts walking towards the vehicle, again it just kind of shows me where his heart is at. You know what I mean? Like no remorse, no concern for how this person is. That I just let's be real. This individual, this agent, probably knows he took a life the second he pulled, he shot his gun. So maybe that's why he's very nonchalantly walking over there. But yeah, I don't like
Federal
what I
agents
see.
on scene do not appear to rush to provide emergency medical care. Eventually, the agent who shot the motorist approached
And what was this guy jumping around for?
emergency medical. Do not appear to rush.
What the
to
hell was
provide
that?
emergency
Maybe he was
medical
jumping
care.
out of the vehicle or something?
Eventually, the agent who
So he kind of just stands around. He doesn't even start walking.
shot the
Kind of
motorist
stands
approaches
around,
the
and
vehicle.
I think this is him.
Seconds later, he turns back around and
La-di-da-di-da,
tells his
still on
colleagues
his
to call
phone.
911.
Shame!
Hey, call 911.
You shot someone! You shot someone!
Agents block several bystanders who attempt to provide medical care, including one who identifies himself as a physician.
So that part, listen, that's not going to happen. Don't get on the. I mean, that's standard procedure. Like, just because someone says, "Oh, I'm a doctor," like I can help. Like, really, you don't know. You don't know if they're a doctor or not. You are supposed to render aid the best you can until EMTs show up. So don't get on any of these officers for not letting a self-proclaimed doctor. I mean, it could be a dentist or, it could be someone who makes, even if it's a doctor specialized in what they need right then and there. It could be out of practice, and liability is a huge thing in law enforcement and in the medical practice. So bystanding doctors typically are not an option. So I'm not going to fault any of the officers for that.
No! Back up! Now!
But what I can fault them for absolutely is not rendering aid. They're all standing around making sure that, yes, it is true, make sure bystanders are away. We need space. We need space for other first responders to come in, and we need space for us to render aid. They should be checking for pulses. They should be applying tourniquets if they need to. They should be doing CPR if they need to. But they're just sitting there making sure the scene is secure, which is great. But they're not rendering aid. I wholeheartedly believe that a patrol unit, officers from patrol, would do a better job with this scenario than these ICE agents did. Let that sink in. I don't know what these guys are trained, but the men and women I worked with, I have so much more confidence that they would have held their own in this situation. They wouldn't have killed someone. If that would have happened, they would have rendered aid. I've seen it firsthand. These guys did not respond to the scenario in a way that dictates to me that they were properly trained.
Hey, listen, you understand?
At the same time, several agents, including the agent who opened fire, get in their vehicles and drive off, apparently altering the active crime scene.
So there's some ways you can look at it. Now, the agent specific to this scenario, I think moving him from the scene is a smart thing to do, not just for him, but for people standing by. You know, they might try to retaliate or something like that. That being said, you could also, you could also look at it as, this agent should stick through the call from A through Z. But I don't have a problem removing him from the scene. At the end of the day, if there's one message I could send out to America, is that before we move on with this whole bickering back and forth, this whole political mess that we're in, why can't we all sit down and agree that lives should not be taken by other humans? This is the biggest shame in this whole ordeal, to include the Charlie Kirk incident, if you will. Why can't people come together? Initially say, you know what, like this is a tragedy. Why are there people celebrating? Why are there people backing other people up? Why can't we first say we should not condone killing and we should oppose it first and foremost before getting into the political stuff? Anywho, that's my opinion. I don't think that ICE agent has a leg to stand on. I just want to reiterate that I support all of the law enforcement officers out there that are doing the job correctly. I think in this scenario, we failed. So anyways, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video.